Katy Perry, I just want to congratulate you on being the first astronaut to sing in space for real.
Thanks, Jeff. It was one small step for women, one giant leap for my Lifetime's tour. By the way, it's Captain Perry now. I know you're just a simple businessman, but I went to space for real.
So much money to go to space.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who can't even afford eggs.
Star Katy Perry and her all-female Blue Origin space journey. So we've long had fake moon landing conspiracy theorists.
All right, sit tight, because what was supposed to be Katy Perry's big, bold leap into the stars didn't just stumble on the landing. It combusted midair and crashed straight into the internet's Hall of Fame for unforgettable public slip-ups. Yes, this was meant to be a legacy moment. Katy Perry, global pop star and pop culture fixture, suited up for Blue Origin's high-profile, all-female spaceflight. She likely imagined something magical, weightlessness, wonder, maybe a few graceful twirls midair, with inspirational music swelling in the background. A vision of herself as not just a singer, but a symbol of empowerment. A modern-day space heroine meant to inspire millions of young dreamers. But reality had other plans, and instead of inspiring a generation, she found herself front and center in a full-blown internet spectacle, where every second of her experience was replayed, re-edited, and reframed into something that looked a lot more like comedy than courage.
New York Post. Can you go to the New York Post story cover? What a phenomenal title. Whoever came up with this title, give this guy a freaking raise. Send him to the spa. Just show the link, Rob. Just go to the link. Tell me how this is not awesome. Astronaut. Okay, look at this. Rob is gonna figure this out. Astronaut. Conspiracy theories swirl about Katy Perry's faked Blue Origin space mission.
Literally nothing. Katy Perry hasn't had a hit song in 10 years.
Adam, they were freaking astronauts.
All right, then don't worry about it. Sit this one out.
But hold on.
Astronaut.
And now, just when it seemed like the headlines might die down and the spotlight might shift somewhere else, guess who decided to step into the ring? South Park. Yes, the same animated juggernaut that's made an entire career out of fearless, unfiltered cultural takedowns is reportedly circling this situation like a hawk. Or more accurately, a pair of seasoned satirists circling the kind of media moment they were born to parody. And here's the part that should have every PR team sitting up straight. This isn't going to be a quick mention or a throwaway joke. According to behind-the-scenes chatter from people connected to animation circles, Trey Parker and Matt Stone are reportedly building an entire event episode around Katy's Blue Origin adventure. If you're not familiar, the event episode in South Park terms doesn't just mean a longer episode. It means a full-blown storyline packed with biting commentary, pop culture references, and the kind of pointed humor that doesn't pull punches. These are the episodes that trend for days and leave reputations noticeably dented. Now let's talk about what's allegedly coming. Because the early leaks, they're intense. One scene that's making the rounds in industry whispers features a character clearly modeled after Katy. She's portrayed floating around a space capsule, trying to stream her empowering moment to her followers. But here's the twist. The camera glitches midstream and accidentally reveals the whole thing was set up. Lights, camera crew, director's notes, what was marketed as authentic inspiration is exposed as a scripted corporate PR move. And Blue Origin, the parody doesn't stop with Katy. The space company itself is reportedly being portrayed as little more than a shiny, oversized carnival ride for out-of-touch celebrities looking to rebrand themselves. No experiments, no innovation, just a handful of familiar faces floating in zero gravity and pretending they're pushing boundaries. Let's be honest, this isn't gentle teasing. This is a full-scale creative strike, planned and executed by two of the most skilled satirists in modern television. It's not hard to imagine the animated version of Jeff Bezos wiping away cartoon tears in a silver spacesuit while cartoon Katy fumbles with her Instagram Live, desperately searching for the right lighting angle in orbit. This isn't just satire, it's methodical, it's sharp, it's a takedown designed to be memorable. And if South Park follows through with what's being teased, Katy's space trip might be remembered not as a leap for womankind, but as the single most dramatic example of a carefully planned brand moment that backfired on a global scale. And honestly, this may only be the beginning.
Katy Perry, I just want to congratulate you on being the first astronaut to sing in space for real.
Thanks, Jeff. It was one small step for women, one giant leap for my lifetime's tour. By the way, it's Captain Perry now. I know you're just a simple businessman, but I went to space for real. That makes me Space Captain Perry.
Excuse me, Captain. Hello? We have a problem. You need to get down here right away. All right, we'll be right there. What's the problem?
Please, Jeff, you don't know as much about this stuff as I do. I sang in space for real, after all. So what's the problem?
Man, for some reason I feel dumb around you. Anyway, when you sang in space, alien communication satellites picked up the sound waves.
And they loved it. I knew I felt a connection when I was in space for real. When we heard Katy Perry sing, it was triggering for us. I mean, who the hell makes a real space flight about themselves by trying to sing to an entire planet without consent? Some organisms are very sensitive to terrible music, you know. Also, launching that much plastic into space is technically littering. And part of our mission is to make sure everyone in the galaxy recycles. That's why, Captain Perry, you're coming with us to be disposed of properly.
Now, Katy didn't just walk away from the criticism, she tried to own it. She stepped back in front of the cameras with tears in her eyes, poetic phrases on her lips, and something new to show the world, her so-called daisy of resilience. It was meant to be symbolic, a soft, gentle flower standing for inner strength, growth, and personal transformation. In her mind, this wasn't a flop, it was a rebirth, a moment of awakening. She wasn't just Katy Perry the pop star anymore, she was Katy Perry the cosmic thinker, the explorer of the human spirit, the beacon of strength in a cold corporate universe. At least, that was the idea. But the internet looked at that daisy and rolled its collective eyes. Instead of applause, what Katy got was a wave of remix culture in overdrive. Her earnest quotes were sliced up, given sci-fi background music, and layered with sound effects from retro space shows. TikTok creators clipped her interviews and added laugh tracks, sound distortions, and robot voices. Suddenly, what was supposed to be a heartfelt moment turned into pure entertainment, and not the kind she'd planned for. And then, of course, came the brand commentary, because when even a fast food chain like Wendy's jumps in to roast your space trip, you know it's gotten out of hand. Their posts were short, sharp, and exactly the kind of viral commentary that sticks. Katy wasn't just being laughed at, she was being casually dismissed by companies that spend their afternoons tweeting about chicken nuggets.
Katy shot it up in space! Whoa! Okay, where's the paparazzi?
How did you go to the toilet while you're up there?
I have on one of those toilet pads. I often use them in the car, it's kind of gross.
And what did you learn about yourself in those 3 minutes in space?
I feel super against love. It's so disgusting, I realized this in space. And it showed me you have to throw up the love that's inside of you.
But just when you thought the public mockery had reached its peak, the FAA made it official. And this is where it got serious. The Federal Aviation Administration released a clear statement. None of the passengers aboard that flight, including Katy, qualified for astronaut status. Not one. Because to actually earn the title of astronaut, you need to perform flight duties. That means participating in the mission in a meaningful way, not simply strapping in, floating for a few minutes, and posing for the camera. You need to do the work. And in this case, the passengers did none of it.
Alrighty everyone, welcome back. It is now May 5th of 2025, and given that the Katy Perry backlash is still going on to this day, not just for herself, but also for Blue Origin as a whole, even for Jeff Bezos, who really orchestrated the entire event on live television, we know one thing in this entire case is that we know that Katy Perry is dealing with endless backlash, not just based on how she reacted to her spaceflight, but also doubling down on damage control, trying to tame the backlash day in and day out, which in the end, let's be very real, it only made matters worse for herself. So one thing about all of this is that we know that Katy Perry is doing everything in her power to essentially win back the fans that walked away from her overall career, and especially from her Lifetime's tour after what they saw from Katy Perry on live television, you know, how she reacted, how she was blaming it on sexism and misogyny and all this nonsense for why she was receiving so much criticism and how there's a lot of bigotry in this country. She kept going on, and it didn't make anything better for herself. That's exactly why she's in this vicious cycle. However, what's interesting here has a lot to do with her so-called quote-unquote apology now toward the general public based on her recent behavior, based on her erratic behavior, I should say.
Just like that, the last bit of credibility this flight had managed to cling to evaporated. The word astronaut wasn't just taken off the table, it was snatched away with official government clarity. And yet, the fallout kept spreading. The conversation shifted hard. People online weren't just laughing anymore, they were asking real questions. Why was this mission treated like a moment of progress? Why were celebrities chosen to represent such a historic opportunity? And most importantly, why weren't real women in science, technology, or aerospace given this platform? Instead of showcasing brilliant engineers, astronauts, or researchers who have spent years, decades even, dedicated to actual space exploration, this flight offered up something else. A carefully curated, camera-ready celebrity lineup. The mission was sold as groundbreaking, but it played out more like an exclusive event invitation for the ultra-wealthy, dressed up in the language of empowerment. And the internet wasn't having it. The moment Katy landed and kissed the ground, meant to be heartfelt and profound, was immediately turned into a meme template. People began photoshopping her into all kinds of wild scenarios, like disaster zones, alien encounters, sci-fi thrillers, and yes, even scenes from dystopian shows like Black Mirror. The image took on a life of its own, one that couldn't be managed by publicists or spin teams.
We need to talk about this space mission that everyone is chatting about right now, because while everyone that's gone to space is like, oh yeah, feminist movement, everyone online is kind of like, wait, this is a little out of touch. So the vibes around this are off, like really off to a lot of people, even though usually everyone is like, yes, girl power and all that, but there's something about this space mission that people are feeling uneasy about. There's been this major space exploration mission launched recently, something that would normally have people excited and hopeful, but instead the internet is spiraling.
What was supposed to be a symbol of triumph was now the face of parody. Then, like clockwork, the internet delivered a brand new word to describe exactly what had gone wrong. That word, Fulminism, a term that combines the idea of fake activism with luxury tourism. Fulminism isn't about real progress. It's not about breaking barriers or creating access. It's about marketing. It's about taking billion-dollar experiences and layering them with just enough motivational slogans and trendy buzzwords to make them look like they matter. This flight, they said, wasn't about discovery. It was about optics. The daisy, not a message of strength, but a logo in disguise. And the audience, they noticed. Because today's viewers are sharper than ever. They've grown up with reality shows, social media campaigns, and behind-the-scenes exposés. They know the difference between a genuine moment and a highly produced one. And in this case, they saw a production, a stage, a performance. Instead of becoming a hero for young girls dreaming of science, math, or exploration, Katy's journey became something else entirely. A case study in what happens when celebrity branding goes too far. The very daisy she held up as a symbol of strength became the internet's shorthand for insincerity. It floated across timelines not as a message of hope, but as a warning flag for over-polished marketing. In the end, the only thing that truly launched was the backlash. Katy's space trip didn't push boundaries, it didn't elevate voices that needed a platform, it didn't open doors for future scientists or astronauts. It reminded the public that in a world craving authenticity, spectacle doesn't stick, substance does. Let's talk about what no one on Katy's team seems ready to admit. The truth? The damage is already done. That speech she gave with tears in her eyes and stars in her voice, it's now a running soundtrack to comedy edits online, auto-tuned and reimagined as something you'd hear in a parody musical, the kind of thing that loops endlessly in the background of social media trends, not as a tribute, but as a punchline. That soaring moment when she touched the sky in that spaceship, it's no longer remembered as a bold leap forward. It's become the case study for how quickly something meant to feel meaningful can come across as calculated. And that effort to reintroduce herself to the world as transformed, enlightened, and renewed, that was supposed to be her new chapter. Her big reveal, but it didn't land. It got swallowed up by remix culture, satire, and side eyes from both critics and casual viewers alike. Even the fans who've stuck by her through album flops and wardrobe controversies started hesitating. Comment sections filled with messages from longtime supporters asking, what happened? Not just in the sense of the flight itself, but in how out of touch the whole thing felt. It wasn't just a question of style or branding, it was about connection. Was Katy still tuned in to the people who once saw themselves in her songs? Or had she, quite literally, drifted too far above the clouds to hear the reactions down below? And looming in the wings this whole time, South Park. Waiting, watching, plotting. Because when they decide to spotlight a celebrity moment like this, it doesn't come lightly. It comes with full creative force. We're not talking about a quick joke or background cameo. We're talking about a full-blown animated treatment that cements that moment in cultural memory forever. Ask around. Anyone who's ever been drawn into a South Park episode knows exactly what that means. It's not satire for the sake of laughs. It's reputation rewriting. And if even half the leaks about this episode are true, Katy's trip to the edge of space will soon have a second act. Only this time, she won't be writing the script. Now let's take a step back. Because for all the glitter, for all the lighting setups, for all the heartfelt lines and sparkling jumpsuits, this moment was supposed to be hers. She reached for the stars, she strapped into that rocket, floated above the planet, looked out the window, and tried to frame it all as the start of a brand new chapter. But when it came time to land, not the physical touchdown, but the return to public perception, something had changed. The applause? It had already faded into silence. And that silence had been replaced with something louder. Laughter, remix videos, parody clips, and commentary that wouldn't stop. And as much as we appreciate her music, her creativity, and everything she's brought to pop culture over the years, maybe, just maybe, the next time Katy feels the need to soar, she might want to try a different kind of ascent. One grounded in purpose, in clarity, in something real. Because you don't need a rocket ship to rise, you need awareness, you need timing, and you need to know when the audience is asking for depth, not dazzle. But do you think Katy's space moment was misunderstood? A step into something meaningful that just didn't translate? Or was this exactly what it looked like from the start? A glitter-coated branding attempt that lost control the moment it left the launch pad? Tell us in the comments. We're reading, responding, and definitely watching how this all plays out. And if you want more cultural deep dives, breakdowns of celebrity highs and lows, and the real stories behind the glossy headlines, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Because this journey through the celebrity cosmos, we are just getting started. And until next time, stay sharp, stay curious, and above all, stay grounded.